Welcome to the Crawlcast. I'm your host, George Krawczak, and these are my predictions for Evolution 2 in 2025. And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. And if you want my more immediate thoughts on things, wrestling, football, stuff like that, make sure to follow me on X at Crawlcast. Now let's get started. So the first match is Jacy Jayne versus Jordynne Grace. So I'm gonna be honest, in full transparency, I do not watch NXT, so I don't really know much of the storyline going into this match. So I'm kind of using a little bit of like context clues to predict the winner. So originally I was gonna say Jacy Jayne, she's for sure retaining because Jordynne Grace seems like she's kind of being skyrocketed to the main roster pretty soon. And so why would she win a championship if she's about to leave NXT and go to the main roster? But then the WWE announced that the winner of this match will face the TNA Women's Champion and kind of unify the title. Well, not unify the titles, but like hold both the titles. And so I just thought, imagine the reaction where Jordynne Grace comes back to TNA holding the WWE NXT Women's title. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal because she is really a trailblazer in the WWE NXT relationship because she was really one of the first people to she showed up in the Rumble and she looked good because yeah, you had Mickie James when she was on she was technically signed to WWE, but she still felt like a WWE woman because she was just with the WWE as Mickie James, and that's where she built her brand, and that's where everyone knows her from. And Jordynne Grace, she is the first kind of true, blue blood of NXT where it's like, or not NXT, of TNA, where it's like, hey, nobody in WWE has probably ever heard of this woman, but she looked absolutely phenomenal in that Royal Rumble. So I think Jordynne Grace will win, and again, it'll be a huge, great reaction when she returns to TNA. The next match is Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship. I think Rhea Ripley will become the new WWE Women's World Heavyweight Champion. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think Io Sky was really necessarily ever planned to be World Champion. Because look at what happened since WrestleMania. So everybody kind of figured, okay, it's Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. And then they had a shock title change where all of a sudden Io Sky won and then's been inserted to the triple threat. And everyone's like, will she be a transitional champion or not? Because Io Sky, I think, is probably the best women's wrestler in WWE, or at least it's close. She's definitely up there as the best, or one of the best, if not the best. And so they had her win at Mania, and then she's proceeded to do absolutely nothing since. So that tells me, okay, so there was never really a plan for her. And I think the original plan was to have Rhea Ripley win at Mania, because look at what's happened since. Io Sky has basically done nothing, and Rhea Ripley, she's on TV every week. She's a part of storylines. She is the face of the women's division, especially on Raw. And Io Sky has barely been mentioned, it feels like. So I think the original plan was always to have Rhea Ripley win at Mania. And because I think a lot of people were souring on WrestleMania and saying, like, ooh, this doesn't feel as good or as exciting as previous years, they're like, okay, let's just insert a shock swerve and have Io Sky win the title. And it really sucks for her because, again, Io Sky is really, really great. She is a phenomenal wrestler, and I think she deserves to be world champion for longer, but she just feels like a transitional champion. And it just, I feel bad for her because of it, because, and again, it's not her fault because they could have just booked her in some interesting storylines or interesting matches, but they just haven't done it. And so I think it's kind of a no-brainer. Rhea Ripley's going to win, and they're going to go back to their original plan of how it feels like it's supposed to go. So the next match is the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. It is Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss against Sol Ruco and Zaria. and the versus the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. So this is just such a weird match. So first off, this is what it seemed like to me. So Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were tag team champions, and Liv interrupted and attacked Nikki Bella. And this is, keep in mind, before Liv got injured. So it seemed like they're setting up a tag team championship match of the Bella Twins versus Liv and Raquel. Or if they're just setting up a Liv versus Nikki story, that just feels a little bit weird because Liv is a tag team champion. So then Liv got injured, and they put the belt on Raquel and Roxanne and just have Roxanne be a replacement. So if that's the original plan, then why not just stick to it and do the Bella Twins versus Roxanne and Raquel instead of just kind of throwing Nikki Bella in a random battle royal? So that just seems very weird to me. And if they weren't going to have the belts defended, it'll just going to be Liv versus Nikki on a one-on-one match. That also just feels a little bit weird, but keep in mind these belts are probably the most like disrespected and disrespected belts in maybe WWE history because it feels like the company doesn't care about them and nobody really cares about them. So I feel like there's a few different ways you can do this. So Sol Ruka and Zarya, I'm just eliminating right off the bat. They are not winning, plain and simple. They're NXT gals, and they just have no shot at moving up to the main roster. And that's also something I want to mention. It is a little bit weird how this match is set up. So Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, they're champions, so they get in. And then you had Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss have to win a triple threat to get in. Okay, so they earn their shot. And then Sol Ruka and Zarya just get put into this match. No one really knows why. They just get put in. And then Asuka and Kairi Sane, they just ask, "Hey, can we're now a team now. Can we please be put into this match?" So it's weird because you had one team earn it, and then the other two just kind of were there, and it makes no sense. So the few ways they can do this is uh, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. I think they can retain, and then you can continue telling the story of the Judgment Day kind of holding all the gold with Dominic Mysterio being Intercontinental Champion, and Finn Balor and JD McDonough being the tag team champions. So I think that's one way you could do it. I think Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss could win because right now those two are major stars with major name value. And it feels like they're kind of just not doing anything with them because Charlotte Flair's an interesting position because it felt like she was so over pushed for a long time. And I think she deserved it because she's probably the best women's wrestler in WWE history. But I just think they're like, okay, we pushed her too big too early on, and now it feels like a little bit of overdoing it if we give her back to the title. But she's such a big name that it's hard to put her in any other picture other than the main event. And then Alexa Bliss, since her return, just kind of feels wasted and like they haven't been using her. And then the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka, it's always great seeing those two together. And I think, you can just say, like, okay, here's an actual tag team that everyone likes and put the belts on them. I am picking Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss just because I do think their fact that both of them are not doing anything at the moment, and both those gals are huge names. And I think they kind of deserve a tag team run, and maybe this can like rejuvenate both their careers a little bit because right now they're kind of down the dumps and not doing anything. So maybe this will be an interesting story that they can tell. Maybe those two eventually splitting, or maybe them forming a dominant faction. Who knows? But I have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair winning just because to me that makes the most sense. So the next match is the women's battle royal, where the winner will face the world champion of their choosing at Clash in Paris. So at the time of recording this video, the announced participants are Ivy Nile, Stephanie Vakir, Nia Jax, Nikki Bella, Natalia, and Maxine Dupree. So I assume maybe like six or eight more like SmackDown girls will be added. So I assume more will be added, but right now that's just the list I'm going off of at the time of this recording. So Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree are just glorified jobbers at this point, so they have no shot at winning. Natalia, I really like the work she's been doing on the Indies, but I just don't think WWE takes her seriously, and I don't think she has any shot at winning. So that leaves Stephanie Vakir, Nia Jax, and Nikki Bella. I think Nia Jax, she just had that last woman standing match with Tiffany Stratton, so I think she's out because she was just kind of in a title match. So Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella. This one I kind of go back and forth on. I am picking Stephanie Vaquer because, well, first I thought, okay, who is like from France slash Paris? Because that when WWE goes internationally, they like to kind of get the hometown person in the match. Neither of them are from there. Although, Stephanie Vaquer is out from Spain, and a lot of time WWE treats it where it's like, if you're anywhere outside the U.S., that's basically the same, kind of like how they did of like Clash at the Castle in the UK and all that. And so, uh, to me, it depends a little bit on Nikki Bella. So, is this kind of a one-off, or is this more of a full-time thing? Because Nikki Bella did rule that she had to. A judge ruled that she had to pay a lot of money to her husband in child support. So maybe there's a shot that she wants a decent paycheck, and this could be a longer run. So I can see her winning and battling for the title if um or if this is a long term thing. And maybe like Brie Bella can come back and help her win, and maybe she becomes a heel. I think that could be very interesting. But overall, I think the safe bet is Stephanie Vaquer. She is definitely on the rise to superstardom. She is an amazing wrestler, one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE. They've been pushing her to the moon ever since she debuted. She has a lot of people's picks for Money in the Bank, and I just see her winning. I think she makes the most sense out of the choices that are available at the moment, and I think Stephanie Vaquer is going to win. The next match is Trish Stratus versus Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's World Title, and I think Tiffany Stratton will win. So this is kind of interesting because I forgot to mention earlier Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton got to choose their opponents, and I don't like that stipulation. I wish their opponents kind of earned it, and I also thought it kind of made Io Sky look like an idiot. Whereas if you want to win, find the biggest jobber uh on the planet. Find the worst women's wrestler in WWE and say, okay, I'm facing you. Instead, Io Sky is facing Rhea Ripley, who's probably the best women's wrestler in WWE right now. And then Tiffany Stratton, at least you can give her a little bit of an excuse where it's like, Trish Stratus is a little bit older and she's a legend and she doesn't, and she's very, very part time, so she doesn't wrestle often. So you can say, okay, so she'll probably win, and maybe this is a dream match for her, but I don't know. I thought the stipulation kind of made Io Sky look a little bit dumb. And so this is just a nostalgia match. There's no shot Trish Stratus winning, and it would make zero sense if Trish Stratus won. It just kind of feels like Tiffany Stratton. They have a similar look and have a similar style, and I think it's like, okay, Tiffany Stratton feels like the new Trish Stratus, so that is why we're having this match. And also, it's Evolution, and Trish is one of the historically known as one of the trailblazers for women's wrestling. And so give her credit for that and have her wrestle Evolution, but there's really no shot that Tiffany's losing. Tiffany's going to retain. So the next match is Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a no holds barred match. Uh, or no holds barred match. I think Jade Cargill is going to win this because I think it kind of makes perfect symmetry where so you're trying to push Jade to the moon. Okay, she is going to be your next women's world champion. She is facing I believe Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam, although it hasn't been announced. So theoretically she could face Rhea Ripley, but I think it's going to be Tiffany. And so she just needs to look strong. And so I think it just makes sense that you're going to have her win every single match from here to SummerSlam. And I like I said, I think it works with symmetry because you're going to have her beat Naomi, and then Naomi can come back around and be like, okay, I don't care if you beat me. I just cashed in on you at SummerSlam and stole the title from you. And so I think that's how it's going to work. Is I think Jade Cargill will win at SummerSlam and beat Tiffany Stratton, and then right after she wins, Naomi's going to screw her over and beat her for the title. That kind of makes sense to me. I think this will be an exciting match. Naomi has been on a really great run, and no hold barred matches are always really exciting and really great. And so there's nothing on the line, so that kind of dampers it a little bit. But overall, I think Jade Cargill is going to win. So your main event of the evening is Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. So I think Bayley is going to win. So it's kind of interesting because it does feel like a little bit like Bayley is the oddball out, and Becky and Lyra have been telling the story and going back and forth. And I feel like they can. There's a few ways they can end it where they could have Lyra win and be like a happy feel good ending. You could have. I don't really see Becky winning, and the reason why I'm picking Bayley is because when I heard this is going to be the main event, to me that says okay, something is shocking is going to happen. Bayley seems like a little bit of a why is she here, and she doesn't really make sense to the story. So I think a woman is going to return from injury or just being out and is going to help Bayley win, and they're going to form a new faction. Like, I'm be honest, I was struggling with this one so much because, like, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, who could it be? I was thinking like the one thought that kind of came to my head is Carmella, but I don't really see Carmella coming back, and it's just tough to really say who it's going to be. But because this is the main event, that means something shocking, something big, something monumental, something main event worthy is going to happen. And to me, that says, okay, what does nobody see coming? Bayley winning and someone helping her win, and Bayley kind of turning heel a little bit. So that's why I think it's going to happen. And those are my predictions for uh, Evolution 2 2025. And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. And if you want to see my more immediate thoughts on wrestling and other things, just follow me on Twitter /X at Crawcast. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you on the next one.